that this is how I'm going to keep tabs on the lies your government is telling you by making them straight as they change, because they manage to change the narrative slowly, so you have to keep track. Who benefits when a psychopathic monster randomly punches a beautiful woman in the road and is treated as if he was a radical, transgressive philosopher by the state? Who benefits when a suicide bomber blows up a bus full of children and is treated as if he was just a theologian, just an overly devout religious person? As if he was just some kind of uh, radical philosopher uh, at the limits of the real or something. Who benefits when the government intentionally and conveniently confuses any kind of evil act with political dissidence? Who benefits when the government confuses disagreement with the government with outward radical violation of the most basic and fundamental laws and rights? The terrorists want to keep the college boys in power. They want to keep the doctors' privileges in place. The masters, which are the ministers of a religion, operate under a doctor of divinity or a PhD, or in the West, a psychiatrist masquerading, which is a PhD masquerading as a medical doctor. When private corporations, in this case the universities or Google or Twitter or Microsoft, when private corporations own the legislative record and the judicial record, they are allowed to pick from it selectively and treat their incidental territory that comes with their government contract as if they own it and as if you were obliged to respect their authority in it. They're able to fracture the judicial system because you do not have access to the legislative record. And that is why you have random militia spooks inhibiting your political process, treating everybody who disagrees with the government as if they were a terrorist, and treating every terrorist as if he was a radical philosopher of the left. It's a kind of political science department anarcho-socialism that works because it works on your brain. When a private corporation owns the public record, including obviously the domain addresses that are registered for the web addresses of your websites on the wire, on the road, when they own the public record, they are able to establish a kind of plenary arbitrary authority in their nebula of contractors that grows and grows as the state fails. There are become necessary more and more contracts. The legislature is randomly throwing out money in all directions because the communication between the legislature and the people is controlled by the doctors and by the media companies that manipulate the message between the people and the legislative supreme authority. Ultimately, what the town councils and the town governments seem to want to do is treat the town council as if they owned your government. And the way that the Islamists act, and the psychiatrists in the West, is to literally worship the town council as if it was a king that from which all knowledge emanated. Then these monsters are allowed to do whatever they want as long as they return to the fold of the master named by the town council and by their militia, who call themselves police officers, though there seems to be no enlisted man in this army. And right at the moment when this nebulon of socialist contractors and socialist corporations becomes totally useless right at the moment when you don't need one public school teacher anymore. All you need is to find the file you are looking for in the public record certified as the domain of a website. Right at the moment when their socialism becomes completely useless, they are extending it arbitrarily and forcing their behavioral codes on everybody by regulating the entire economy out of existence and forcing everybody into their public colleges and public schools of behavior.